Hello, it's Andy Hudson from sittingbourne.me and we're back for week 3 of our quiz, and today I'm going to ask you whether you can name these 10 John Hughes movies from the 1980s. Now if you don't know who John Hughes is, it doesn't matter, you will be familiar with his films, I can assure you. But John Hughes was an American filmmaker who wrote, produced and sometimes directed some of the most successful live-action comedy films of the 1980s and 1990s. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, number 1. So when John Hughes started out, he started out as a writer for an American magazine which branched out into a series of movies. Now this was the second screenplay he wrote for the series, and it was a box office hit in 1983. Yep, you got it. It's National Lampoon's Vacation, a classic American road trip holiday film where Chevy Chase, who plays Clark Griswold, takes his family on a cross-country expedition from the suburbs of Chicago, which features in many of John Hughes' movies, to the fictional family fun park Wally's World, based in Southern California. Number 2. One of several teen movies on the list, this 1985 movie is set in a high school, which is used in at least 4 films on this list. Yup, you've guessed it, it's The Breakfast Club, a personal favourite of mine, starring Emilio Estevez, Anthony Michael Hall, Judd Nelson, Molly Ringwald and Ali Sheedy as teenagers from different high school cliques who spend a Saturday in detention with their assistant principal, played by Paul Gleason, and they end up discovering they've got a lot more in common than they thought. Number 3. 2 nerdy kids misuse a computer for an experiment to create life in this 1985 cult classic movie which features a very young Robert Downey Jr. Yep, it's weird science. 2 nerdy social outcasts create the real-life girlfriend of their dreams, played by Kelly LeBrook, in a weird experiment. Whilst it might be a cult film, I find this one a bit cringeworthy if I'm honest. Number 4. A man struggles to get home for Thanksgiving, with a lovable shower curtain ring salesman as his only companion in this 1987 road movie. Yep, you've got it. It's Planes, Trains and Automobiles, starring the fabulous Steve Martin and John Candy, who pair up for the road trip from hell as they try to make their way home in time for Thanksgiving. What a classic movie this one is. Number 5. A high school wise guy is determined to have a day off from school in this all-time classic 1986 film. Honestly, do I really need to say any more than that? Yup, it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Is there anyone who hasn't actually seen this film? Definitely my favourite on this list, and possibly my favourite of all time. Absolutely brilliant from start to finish. Matthew Broderick stars as Ferris Bueller, a high school slacker who skips school for a day. Set in a very familiar school, one that you may have seen in other films on this list. Number 6. A girl's sweet 16th birthday becomes anything but special as suburban teenager Samantha suffers in silence in this 1984 teen drama. Yep, it's 16 Candles, and I confess it's the only film on this list that I've never actually seen. Anyway, it's a coming-of-age film starring Molly Ringwald playing the character of Samantha Baker, whose family forget all about her 16th birthday because her older sister is getting married the next day. She also has an annoying boyfriend and a huge crush on someone else who doesn't even know she exists. Number 7. An early film featuring Macaulay Culkin, released in 1989. But probably not the one you're thinking of. An uncle babysits his brother's rebellious teenage daughter and her cute younger brother and sister. Yup, it's Uncle Buck. John Candy, who stars as Uncle Buck, is called on to look after his brother's 3 kids due to a family emergency. As already mentioned, it stars Macaulay Culkin, pre-Home Alone. In fact, it's thought that the idea for Home Alone came out of this film. Number 8. A family's plans for a big family get-together at Christmas fall apart in this 1989 masterpiece. Yup, it's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now when it comes to Christmas movies, I'm sure you all have your favourites. Well, this is definitely my favourite. Chevy Chase reprises his role of Clark Griswold for the 3rd time in what I would consider to be the best of the vacation film series. Plans for a full family Christmas go awry very quickly, and it gets even worse when his wife's cousin and her husband join the gathering. Number 9. A girl from a less than affluent family must choose between the affections of her childhood sweetheart or the good-looking rich kid in this well-known 1986 movie. Yep, it's Pretty in Pink, another classic film starring Molly Ringwald, Andrew McCarthy and John Cryer. An American teen romantic comedy that follows the well-trodden path of a girl obsessing about the good-looking rich kid, only to realise that it's her childhood sweetheart that she likes all along. Okay, the final one, number 10. In this 1988 film, we see a Chicago man's hope for a peaceful family vacation in the woods shattered when the annoying in-laws drop in. Yep, it's The Great Outdoors. This film follows 2 families who end up spending their vacation together at the lake resort in Wisconsin, starring Dan Aykroyd and John Candy. Thank you once again for playing along. I hope you enjoyed it, and if we can think of something else, maybe we'll be back again with another quiz. Thank you. Bye. Discover more on sittingbourne.me.